Welcome to African Today, the voice of a changing continent. We bring you the stories shaping Africa's present and future, from breaking news and bold analysis to culture, innovation, and voices on the ground. We're here to inform, inspire, and amplify the heartbeat of Africa every single day. Thank you for stopping by the channel. We hope you enjoy our video. Let's begin. In a bold and historic realignment of power and political will in West Africa, the triumvirate of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso has emerged as a symbol of defiance, unity, and African self-determination. At the heart of this political renaissance stands Captain Ibrahim Traore, the charismatic and unapologetically Pan-African leader of Burkina Faso. Together, these three nations have declared their intent not merely to survive in a world that often exploits them, but to lead it from a position of African pride and sovereignty. The rise of a new order. For decades, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have been marked by political instability, external interference, economic hardship, and the growing threat of terrorism, particularly in the vast, ungoverned spaces of the Sahel. However, in recent years, a wave of revolutionary fervor has swept through these nations, culminating in a series of military-led changes in governance. These transitions, while controversial on the global stage, have been widely embraced by many local populations who see them as a necessary course correction from decades of corruption, foreign dependence, and ineffective leadership. Among these leaders, Captain Ibrahim Traore has risen as a unique figure. Since taking power in Burkina Faso in 2022, Traore has inspired many with his youthful energy, nationalistic vision, and commitment to Pan-African ideals. Unlike many African leaders of the past who aligned with foreign interests, Traore has boldly distanced his nation from neo-colonial influence, particularly from France, which has long held political and economic sway in the region. A unified front, the Alliance of Sahel States. In 2023, the formation of the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, marked a critical turning point. Comprised of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, the alliance represents a groundbreaking political and military pact centered on mutual defense, economic collaboration, and the restoration of sovereign dignity. The AES has pledged to work together to combat terrorism, defend against foreign intervention, and chart a path of independent development based on shared African values. One of the alliance's boldest moves was its collective withdrawal from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, a regional bloc perceived by many in the Sahel as increasingly serving foreign, especially Western interests. In doing so, the three nations sent a clear message: they will no longer allow their futures to be dictated by external agendas. Instead, they are choosing to define their own paths, rooted in regional solidarity and self-reliance. Ibrahim Traore, the torchbearer of a new generation. At just 35 years old, Captain Traore represents a generational shift in African leadership. Where many African heads of state have clung to power for decades, Traore speaks openly about democratic transition and collective governance. Yet, it is not only his age that makes him a compelling figure. It is his courage to speak uncomfortable truths about Africa's place in the global order. Traore has repeatedly called out the exploitative economic systems that keep African nations impoverished, particularly the control of natural resources by foreign corporations and the manipulation of African currencies through mechanisms like the CFA franc. He has championed policies aimed at reclaiming national resources, investing in agriculture, empowering youth, and fostering intra-African trade. He dresses simply, speaks directly, and lives humbly compared to many of his peers, earning admiration from ordinary citizens who see him as a true representative of the people, not an elite figurehead. In an era of widespread political disillusionment, this image has become a powerful tool of legitimacy and hope. A new narrative for Africa. The emergence of this trio, and especially of Captain Traore, signals a larger movement within Africa. It's a movement away from the narratives of dependence and despair and toward a future rooted in pride, resistance, and self-determination. Across Africa, especially among the youth, there is growing admiration for the Sahelian alliance. Social media is filled with images of Traore alongside other revolutionary leaders like Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, and Kwame Nkrumah. Many see him as a continuation of the revolutionary dreams that were violently suppressed during the Cold War and the decades of structural adjustment that followed. Of course, challenges remain. The security situation in the Sahel is still volatile. Economic sanctions imposed by ECOWAS and supported by foreign powers have placed strain on these countries. The international community continues to debate the legitimacy and human rights records of the new military-led governments. But despite these difficulties, there is a renewed sense of agency and collective purpose within the populations of these countries. Conclusion: a turning point in African history. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, once considered among the most vulnerable nations in Africa, are now forging a new chapter in the continent's story. With Captain Ibrahim Traore as a central figure, these nations are challenging the status quo, asserting their right to self-determination, and inspiring a new generation of Africans to believe in their own power. Whether this movement will succeed in the long term remains to be seen, but what is clear is that a shift has occurred, a bold rejection of neocolonialism, a reclamation of pride, and the emergence of a leadership that dares to envision an Africa that governs itself, protects its own, and rises on its own terms. This is not just the story of 3 countries. It is the story of Africa's awakening. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe to help grow the channel. Until next time, see you soon.